Second Cup, brought to you by the Nickel Plate. Sit, sip, savor, and shop.
Good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock on the start of a Monday. Glad you're with us to start the week. Second Cup brought to you by the Nickel Plate. We're so glad to have them along as our sponsor. Don't forget you can stop by the Nickel Plate on Clinton, pick up your Cuppies Love mug, let them know that you're a Cuppie, and it'll be one of those things that you'll be able to cherish forever.
As a matter of fact, Peter and his dad stopped by.
Yes, did you get your picture from Peter?
Yeah, I brought it. John, it's one of the pictures that I put to go into Second Cup. So John's actually not in the room with us today. So we're literally talking to him.
Yeah, where is
talking
John?
To you. Well, he's here. He's just not physically in the back of the studio like he usually is. John, can you pull up that picture of Peter and his dad for me? It was one of the ones that I put in Slack. And if you can't, then I actually do have it available. It's actually just Peter.
Danielle sent me her picture as well with her daughter. So I'm going to get those in the Slack channel for tomorrow.
Don't forget, if you send us a picture here, I can share it. If you send us your picture, there he is.
There's Peter.
Peter.
Got one for Bob also, I'm sure, right, Peter? Or are they both for you?
He needs 2 cups of coffee. So if you stop by and get a mug, let us know. Send us a picture. We'll put them up there. Peter says, get the Reuben Crunch wrap. Okay.
I'm just adding Danielle's pictures right now into the Slack channel, John, so that we can have them either for tomorrow or if you pull them up. Sean wondering if we're going to be on the road to the Nickel Plate. Yes, eventually we will be. They start serving breakfast, I think, middle to late next month. Mm-hmm. So we were planning on taking the show on the road once they get things going over there and start serving breakfast. Otherwise, right now, they're just kind of a lunch and dinner spot.
Yeah.
But
I hear good things about the food.
Did you have a good weekend?
Busy weekend. How about you?
Yeah, super fun. We had a uncle's sleepover.
Adorable.
And so I posted some pictures on my Facebook page and on my Instagram. John, I don't know if you want to pull them up. But
did everybody sleep okay?
So everyone slept well. Let me tell you something. So it was Alana, Russ, and me. We had Alana in her own room.
She's 8.
She's 8. And Russ wakes up at the crack of dawn. You know, he's an early riser. So it's 8 o'clock. He's starting to make breakfast and he's like, what is going on here? Why isn't she up?
She's a sleeper.
Exactly. She went to bed at 8:30, woke up at 8 o'clock the next morning. She was exhausted.
Love.
But we had so much fun. We went on boat rides. We had dinner with Uncle Russell's
Keeping her
busy. Yeah, it was super fun. But I don't know, maybe John's trying to find him for us. But Jeanette, appreciate that. Coolest uncles ever. We try. She was really having a good time.
That's fun. A lot of fun.
Memories
it's always good to go have a sleepover when you're a kid, too.
Yeah. And,
did you watch a movie?
We actually watched the Olympics.
Love.
And
oh, my God. I've been loving the Olympics.
Do you know what Alana's like? She's really into gymnastics.
Oh, who isn't?
Right. And so she does gymnastics, and she was telling me how she wants to go to the Olympics one day. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I'm like, that's a great idea. And I said, there are people from Buffalo who are in the Olympics, and like Anita Alvarez, Will Anderson.
She'd probably like to watch that too.
Oh yeah, she would love that.
If you like gymnastics, you'd like the
Matt Anderson.
What is it? The water. What do they call it?
Synchronized swimming.
Yeah, the water dancing or whatever it is.
That.
It's super cool.
So we had Uncle Russell made us hot dogs and all the sides.
Yes.
We had some sweet relish and all that good stuff.
She's such a cutie patootie.
Oh my God, she's the best. And then
boat ride.
Yeah, we had a great time on the boat ride. It was super fun.
Super cute.
Do you know what I love about her? She's like, Uncle Ed. She just came out with this. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard. She goes, Uncle Ed, I stick up for you in school. I'm like, what? I'm like, why would you stick up for me in school?
What are you getting bullied by the 8-year-olds?
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck are you talking about, Alana? She goes, people say gay is weird, but gay is normal. And I'm like, yes, my queen.
Do people really still say that in school?
Isn't it so funny?
Come on. Aren't we past having kids say that?
But like at 8 years old.
I get it. No, I get it. But like, we need to do a better job as adults than if that's still happening in schools, I think.
I just thought that was so sweet.
You need to
do better.
Do a little bit better, right? Anyhow.
Talk about your Italian stacking. I mean, your cheese stacking.
I said a bunch of
Your
Italian.
Italian festival cheese stacking.
So I was the MC of the Italian festival this weekend. So I was there just for a couple hours each day, but it was really fun. It's really nice because it's very close for us. Like it's like our neighborhood,
Yeah,
you
can
know?
walk there.
We can literally walk there. It's fantastic. So, yeah, probably the most entertaining part, arguably, there's a lot of funny things. That grape stomp is hilarious. They put like people in the tubs. It's like I Love Lucy, right? And they're stomping on the grapes and they do it as fast as they can, like for a minute, and then they like try to see who made the most juice. Hilarious. But the cheese stacking contest where you stack up, so it's string cheese, think like Lincoln Logs, and you're trying to stack it as tall as you can in 1 minute. So I wasn't planning to do it this year. And then, you know, I was there just helping out as the MC. And then Marco was like, hey, would you mind playing for Little Smiles? And that's a charity that I really like that he's part of, Chef Marco. And I'm like, I'm in. That's my stack. That was my practice. That was my practice stack. That would have won, honestly. But that was my practice one. And then I choked during the the actual competition. I came in second place.
Who came in first? Kelsey Anderson?
Yeah, not a full-on choke, but enough to not take
Now,
first place.
I understand that there's some controversy that happened here at the cheese stacking and perhaps some allegations of cheating.
I'm not going to get into it here.
In the world.
It wasn't with me. But Taylor Epps was making some accusations. She won last year. It was so funny. I was dying. Like, everything about this competition is just funny.
Oh, it's hysterical.
Because, like, what are you doing? You're stacking up cheese sticks? Like, okay.
Marguerite says that she got her tripe. What was it good? I love tripe. It's one of my favorite things.
Or Howard really quick says, why are we throwing the cheese when so many people need food? Howard, we're throwing it to people. It doesn't go to waste. Like people are there.
And it's all wrapped.
It's all wrapped up and they're just catching it and taking it home.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I like went out and gave out to a bunch because like you can only throw cheese sticks so far.
Actually, I'm sure you can throw it really far.
So you really can. And actually I can throw because I did play softball for a while. But the thing is, if you go off your target by like this much, you're wailing someone in the face with a cheese stick. So like there was a guy who was pretty far and he kept like giving me this like whatever. And I'm like, bro, back up a little bit because I'll throw it to you. But like it's been a long time, and if I go a couple feet to the right, that lady's gonna get smacked with a stick. So I don't want to do that.
You know, we've got so many festivals that happened this past weekend. The Irish Heritage Festival, the Italian Festival, Garden Walk, Black and Latino Pride. There was just so much going on. Garden Walk seemed like it was a great day, both days really, because
I love when we see these backyards. Do I love a water feature?
Oh my gosh.
God, I love a water feature.
Well, and you know, it is so interesting to me that like, okay, I love being nosy, if you didn't know that.
Correct.
And I just love like being like a peeper in somebody's backyard. Be like, oh, you did this? Oh, I didn't know you had that in your backyard.
There's nothing better than like seeing behind someone's fence.
Yes, exactly. Ooh. Oh, what a little oasis.
Look at your oasis.
Anita says, I got a Big Mac rice bowl, a unicorn lemonade, and an artichoke bowl from the Italian
Oh, my goodness gracious. That sounds good.
Peter went to Wine Festival in Lewiston.
Ooh, Jason went to the Polish Festival. Got to eat a lot, watched the dancers, bought a shirt.
That's cool. Oh,
so I got sorbet. That was what that was my little splurge.
We went to North Tonawanda on Saturday. Had dinner at Remington, one of my favorite restaurants. And we want, you know, the cheesecake restaurant up there, the cheesecake.
Yes.
Say Cheesecake, it's called.
Uh-huh.
They are one of my favorite places to go.
I think Say Cheesecake, didn't I tell you, didn't they do the desserts at my friend's wedding?
Probably.
Didn't I
yes.
They were so cute.
Well, so, and they're delicious, and you can go get them at the store, but they were closed for vacation when we went up there. So we had sorbet also on Saturday night.
Shonda, yeah. Next time looking in the window, nighttime looking in the windows driving.
Like around
or like
Christmas
walking
time.
the dog, yeah. Oh my God, I love looking at everybody's Christmas decorations.
Oh, Kelly says she had a packed weekend moving next weekend. Where are you moving to, Kelly?
Tiffany, dang, got back from France and Spain.
Wow.
Had gelato every day. Oh my God.
Did you see the Olympics at all?
When I was in Italy, I ate so much gelato.
I love Italy.
I mean, it's down every street. So I was like, better have a gelato. Let's get a gelato.
Oh, I love Jeanette's comment here. Nothing like finding out your neighbors have a pool.
Oh, yeah, exactly. My mom did that. Pull up her comment. This is what she did this weekend. She loves these Explore Buffalo tours.
Mm-hmm.
She did the one on the Allentown mobs.
Oh, what was that like?
She loved it. She came over and she was telling us all about it. Like she said she was complimenting her docent, said the woman had so much information. and that she was telling them all about like basically Buffalo's mob history.
Huh.
And, you know, the different connections. And she was saying at one point, like, you know, she took them all around Allentown. You walk around, you see different things. At one point, they knew like one of those Brinks armored trucks, you know, would park every night. This is like decades ago, full of money from Fort Erie.
Wow.
The casino stuff. They had like $500,000 on it.
Uh-huh.
So the mob had planned to like rob it in some capacity. And then something happened. The truck got stuck. And where the truck ended up getting stuck, it blocked their getaway car. So they ended up getting arrested. Like she was like, oh, it was just so great. They had so many great
Wow,
stories.
that's so
It was
cool.
fantastic. You'd probably love it.
I absolutely would.
And they do all different kinds, you
How
know.
cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
Melly says, what happened with Maid of the Mist? Did I miss something or?
I saw people were stuck in an elevator.
Oh,
Is that what
yes.
happened?
I did see that also.
Yeah. I don't think it was that big of a deal.
Lawrence,
Although I will say, as someone who's been stuck in an elevator, I can say it's not a big deal now, but when it's happening, you're like, oh my
yeah,
God,
that's scary.
hit me out of here.
Lauren says the weekend flew by. She was hammered for most of the weekend. She called me yesterday. She goes, I am so drunk.
Oh, you know what you would have liked at the Italian festival they had this year? An Aperol Spritz Piazza.
Oh, I'm not a big Aperol Spritz person.
I gotta say, they're not my favorites either. My girlfriends love them.
Really? Why?
Oh
I
my God,
think they're like,
obsessed with them.
I don't like them.
Aaron and Tony love them.
Why?
Rachel loves them.
It's like, it's a weird taste, don't you think?
The Aperol.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Foley says, we had our 3-year-old grandson all weekend and he was sick. Oh,
Baby.
that's so sad. Well, okay, speaking of kids, would you or do you find more and more people are saying we don't want to have kids? Or are you finding, I don't know, that you, I wouldn't say regret, but do you feel like there isn't enough time for you? Obviously, we know that once you have a child, like your life becomes theirs. But apparently, more and more kids, or more and more adults rather, are saying that they don't want to have kids. 47% of those surveyed said they are unlikely to ever have kids.
So that's about half the population.
Mhm. And those are people under 50.
Interesting.
So why?
Buyer's remorse, Brittany said.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Not being able to afford a child, wanting to focus on other things, concerns about the state of the world or the environment.
I feel like there is, for better or for worse, much more of a concept of how expensive kids are these days, because I feel like we didn't talk about it as much as we do in the past. And now we talk about it a lot. Like we talk about it almost every day on the news in some capacity. Like daycares, we talk about constantly how expensive that is. We talk about, and social media. I really think social media has made parents like uber aware of not only the cost, but like
The consequence.
you call it the consequence of having kids.
Oh, no, like, I guess having kids on social media is the consequence.
Yeah, no. I just meant like I think that parents, if you follow some of these parenting influencers or people on social media, I think that like we have to remember it's hard to compare ourselves in any capacity to these people, and so I think that sometimes it like makes it a lot more overwhelming. Maybe I don't know.
Katie says, I think it's the state of the world. Felice says our own daughter is 27. Let me get back up there. Hang on. Our 27 made sure she won't have kids in this world. It made me sad at first. Now I'm okay with it. Lauren says, I'd rather people don't have kids if they truly don't want them instead of having them and not taking care of them properly.
Totally.
Sarah, I think it's better to not have them because you're unsure rather than have them and regret it. Kim's 53, never had kids. Kids are expensive, messy, and you don't get any sleep.
Aaron Phillips says, I think the younger generation is more aware of the consequences with having kids. The world isn't just cis couples anymore. It's true.
Diane,
It's too expensive for these young adults these days.
the world is crazy now. I feel for my grandkids growing up. And I wonder, like, you know, I was thinking about this the other day when I was kind of like listening to Alana talk, and she's just so smart, but like, I don't think that she realizes like what the magnitude of this, like of today is. Do you know what I mean? In other words, we have consequential elections coming up. We have
Well, and she's 8, so
Well, but obviously she has no idea, no concept of it. But like she will learn about this.
she will. And oh, you mean like as her high school time goes on
Yeah.
and things like that? Yeah, and she's living through it now. Keep
And
them kids as long as you can, I think. I mean, it's cool to learn. Do you remember when you were a little kid and you would go vote? Like your
Yes, of
school would do,
course.
and like so you get the concept, but you don't need more. Than
No,
what's behind it.
but like, Adriana, my other niece, she's 4. She was born, she's a pandemic baby. Like
Yeah.
they will never know.
yeah, what like right?
I just thought that was so interesting.
I know it's so true.
Melly says, my son is my world, wanted to be a mom so bad, but so sad with our world today.
Kathy says, I think it's about their income. Prices are high in everything. Would love to
Mhm.
be a grandma in the future. Sarah agrees that there's so much more awareness about, like, I think all the aspects of parenting. I just think, Sarah, like, not only the costs, but like everything that comes along with it, you know?
Look at what Brittany says. We wanted to foster or adopt, but to have the money means not having the time.
I know.
That's hard.
It is. It's crazy.
Felice says the state of our world these days is scary. I couldn't imagine being in my 20s right now and having a child. I wouldn't do it. And I think it's so hard for people our age especially. Like you see a lot of people who had kids in their 20s, like my best friend Nina had kids in her 20s. She was 25. She's got an 8-year-old now, and I'm like, I could never.
Some people,
that.
right? There's like, I feel like there's two, like, I've had friends who've got married very young and had kids young, and so their kids are like older now. And then I have friends who are having babies right now. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's like everybody kind of goes on their own path, which I'm like, you do you, whatever works for you, you know?
So the people surveyed say not having kids has made it easier for them to afford the things that they actually want, to have time for hobbies, and to save for the future. And I was saying this morning when we were talking about this at 5:15, like I love being an uncle, but there's a part of me that is just so selfish that I want my time. And like, I don't even want to have to worry about the dog sometimes. I mean, I love the dog and I
Yeah.
love Gladys, but like, I don't want to take her certain places because I know that there is a responsibility that comes along with it. And I don't want to be responsible.
Yeah.
So Crystal
Um,
says, I told my kids I don't want to be a grandma. My kids are my life, but I bust my what at work, give them
Kim-
everything.
says she had 3 kids, 30, 38, and then 41.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, listen to this, Kelsey. I have a friend whose daughter just graduated from high school.
Mm.
Meanwhile, Nora starts pre-K in September. Whole different
Totally.
world.
And I have friends like that too, like that their kids are in high school right now or going into high school. And, like my godson just turned 3 yesterday, Saturday. So it's just everybody kind of does it at their own pace. And you know what?
To each their own.
To each.
Now let me ask you this question. What do you think about this? Do you think Buffalo should have its own ambulance service? This is kind of an interesting conversation, and a lot of it is happening on social media right now, both on my TikTok and my Instagram. It is controversial to say the least because it's expensive,
It's
but
expensive.
Council President Chris Scanlon says that this could feasibly generate some revenue for the city of Buffalo, and we know the city of Buffalo is broke. So what do you think about this? Should we get rid of AMR, which, by the way, has been operating the city of Buffalo for the last 3 years without a contract, and response times are now being called to question?
Now, okay, Melly says, yes, we need faster response times. Felice says, yes, Buffalo should have its own ambulance service. Parker's Pit, Lockport went through this for a couple years.
Yes,
Mhm.
remember that. But, the city of Buffalo is a lot bigger. And, now if this were to be reality, if Scanlon's proposal and resolution came to fruition, this would fall on the firefighters. Like the firefighters are going to have to now care for patients as opposed
So
to.
would they staff the ambulances?
That's what it seemed. It would be under the fire department. I'm sure there would be medics and there would be other things, but
Right.
they're already trained in some capacity.
They're
to be-
EMTs.
right.
They're not all paramedics.
But it's so interesting. Sarah says Olean has her own. Jason says yes, Buffalo should have its own ambulance system. Rochester's going through the same issue. Connie says yes.
You know what's hard is that the EMTs, like when you talk about their salaries,
They're low.
they're low.
So they're having a hard time even finding people for these jobs.
Yeah.
And, other places are paying these people what they should be paid.
Right. Felice says, oh my, the firefighters will be responsible for the ambulances. So I think that'd be interesting because, like, right now, the firefighters respond to the 911 calls,
Mhm.
but the ambulances come also, because what are you going to do? Load someone in the fire truck and drive them to the hospital?
Right.
Like, that can't happen.
Kelsey says when our ambulances are out of service, the fire department responds with their ambulance. So that might be a supplement. That might be an interesting thought process
You
there.
have to then hire more firefighters too.
Right. That's a great point.
And think about it too. Like sometimes some of the houses close because of the dynamic staffing.
Yeah. Linda says in Brant, we have the Farnham ambulance and also use North Collins and Seneca Nation. I think it is an interesting conversation because if we are paying a third-party company and they are operating without oversight or they are operating without a contract, then it's really who's watching, who's guarding the hen house. You know what I mean?
Well, look what Howard says. AMR is a contractor employee. They'd certainly pay less than a city or state entity. Well, that's probably true, right? Because like
It's a business.
when you hear about the EMTs and like I don't quote me because I'm not sure what their salaries are, but I want to say maybe like starting, and maybe Kelsey, maybe you can give us a concept of like if you start very basic as an EMT, what are you making? Like mid-20s, high 30s or low 30s, something like that. I feel like I'm trying to remember like past stories that we've done.
So salary.com has, well, okay. So, AMR, 20 to 24 hours, 24. Okay, hold on a second. AMR is looking for a full-time basic EMT
Okay.
in Buffalo. They're also looking for a full-time advanced EMT, is what Indeed.com is showing.
Okay.
And Indeed has this listed as an estimated salary of $20.86 per hour.
So let's say it's 21, right?
Part-time starts at $19.12 per hour.
So 40 grand or so.
Like, that is not sustainable.
Well, the firefighters don't start at that much more.
And I wonder if these guys are taking overtime or how that works.
They do have like those incremental raises. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all works out. Kelsey says EMS in general is very underpaid. I've been working for 9 years. Our EMTs start at 19. Our medics start at 23. It depends on the area.
Kim says, where I live, the firefighter always comes here when an ambulance is called. Anita says, Buffalo doesn't have an ambulance service. They do a handshake agreement with AMR. Well, actually, they're supposed to have a contract. Like, it's more than just a handshake. Like, they are legitimately supposed to have a contract. And to hear that they haven't had one since 2021, it's like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, I've seen, and my mom's adding too.
That's a great point.
That is another, that would be a plus for EMTs at this point, getting in the state retirement system.
Well, and Erie County just recently created its own ambulance system also, especially in those rural communities, because, you know, it was such a problem for them to get service with volunteers. So Erie County created its own.
I do think it would be very stressful if you're in a situation where you're waiting for an ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
A real, you know what I mean? Like, now listen, I understand probably sometimes people will call an ambulance for maybe something that's not as emergent, but sometimes like if there's an actual emergency and you are waiting, you're like, that's got to be so stressful.
Tick tock.
Seriously.
Kim says, just last week, an ambulance came out on our road from the fire hall. The ambulance, then AMR came. No one went in either. Robin says, if AMR has to respond to critical falls first, is that what accounts for the slow response time for non-critical calls? It might be, but you know, if you're waiting more than an hour for an ambulance to arrive, regardless of whatever the situation is, that's still kind of a long time.
Yeah.
National standard is about 9 minutes, I think.
That's stressful. Even 9 minutes seems so long.
Right?
And I mean, it's different. Okay, like a national, when we think about a national standard, we're taking into account cities and rural areas. So I'm sure in a rural area, if you're far from an ambulance, yes, you're going to expect to wait 20 to 30 minutes for one to actually get to you, even if they get the call right away. But in a city, you hope that they get there a lot faster.
Kelsey says, having to talk people through CPR on the phone while getting an ambulance to a rural area seems like it's hours. It's scary sometimes. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Anita says this was their entire dinner conversation last night with hundreds of years of EMS experience in the Buffalo area.
Nellie says, hell, our police take hours to respond at times too. Yeah, you know, we hear it. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, I got a call that's over an hour old or whatever it is.
It again, though, depends on the call.
Sure.
Like, you know, if you have something that is emergent.
Like a loud neighbor is not going to get the top priority.
Right.
Compared to somebody who's.
But if you like think someone's in your home or something like that, you know.
Totally different. Anyway, that resolution is being proposed tomorrow by Common Council President Chris Scanlon. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and what comes of that. As we learn more information, though, of course, we'll keep you posted on WKBW.com.
Good talk today, guys. That was fun.
Love seeing you guys every morning. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.
Happy Monday.